Hello everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. Happy March 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day. Everybody doing your downward barf move right there. All my Irish friends out there. Oh, that's offensive to Irish people. Listen, I was raised Irish Catholic. We understand that these are accurate yoga positions for March 18th. No, nothing like doing downward dog at a curbside sidewalk outside of McGillicuddy's bar. Okay, folks? All right. You know what? I used to drive for Uber, and let me tell you something. The saddest day I had to drive for Uber, it was always on St. Patrick's Day. I would just get the rosary beads out and be like, please don't give me a Monica puking on the back of my car. I would really appreciate not having to do that. Actually, the saddest Uber ride I ever gave, a lot of people like when I share my Uber stories, gave 3,000 rides. The saddest Uber ride I ever gave was on that Santa's Run Day. You ever see those like 5Ks where they'll do like everyone dresses in Santa's outfits and then afterwards they'll all go out drinking? Well, I was driving this girl home and she was a young lady in her 20s, Santa Monica, and I could just hear her like quietly crying in the back seat of the car, and she was dressed up as an elf, and it was the saddest thing ever. She probably just got dumped or something, and she was drunk, and she was probably being dramatic, and she just like quietly wept with the little pointy ears. All right, folks, let's get into it. So here's the deal. Matt James getting a ton of hate online, a ton of hate, and if we need less of anything on the internet, it's hate, okay? The last thing we need is hate. Sure, there's a percentage of people that think he made the wrong moves, that he's should be forgiving Rachael Kirkconnell. If you don't understand what this story is all about, Matt James is the season 25 Bachelor and also the first Black Bachelor. And because of that, the Bachelor producers, through their editing, through the storyline, through their selective casting or lack thereof, they really put him in a bind. And the woman that he ended up choosing and falling in love with ends up to have controversial images, liked photos, rumors come out from her past, and while she's committed to change, he still has to deal with the burden in the wake of that wave. And he wasn't able to communicate himself in a way that it was very hard for him to sort of communicate his emotions in the after the final rose ceremony hosted by Emmanuel Acho. Emmanuel Acho, basically said, his point of view was that he doesn't think Rachael Kirkconnell is a racist. He doesn't think her motivation was to harm anybody, but that she was rooted in ignorance and all that jazz. And that's everyone's point of view is different, and he doesn't speak for anyone but himself. But with all that said, Rachel's come to his defense. So Rachael Kirkconnell is no longer with Matt James, as far as we all know. The window is cracked open on their relationship. The window is cracked open. People have said, is there a chance to get back together? He hasn't said no. And she says she still loves him. Actually, if we look at her post from right after the final rose came out, I think she ends it by saying, let's see if we can find it, I love you. And again, I don't know, she talks about changing the world. It was kind of like a pageant speech, but, it's like what you kind of expect after the show ends. I promise to always stand by and support each of you in any way that I can. Somewhere in there she says love. I don't know. It's in there somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Love. I got to fall in love, and I truly believe he was the love of my life. He will always hold a piece of my heart. I'll always be hopeful and believe what's meant to be will be. So she's standing by her man. She posted this yesterday. Let's go through this. Of course, she posted about the unfortunate, real horrible story out there about a white man who murdered 8 people in Atlanta. 6 of them being Asian American women, and of course, like most people in my news feed, talked about call to action items, mental health, how to donate, things like this. These are good things to be doing on your platform, regardless of who you are. It's good to share all of this love and support. Protect Asian lives, of course. Keep the victims and their loved ones in your hearts. Check in on your Asian friends, family, coworkers, neighbors. Advocate for them, and stand to condemn anti-Asian hate. Of course, we stand with you guys. After she posted this, she got back to personal hate. Hate that. Anyway, let's just read what she said. I am taken aback by what I've seen tonight. If you think that attacking a person I care about with racist insults is what I would ever want, you haven't been listening. Some of the things I've seen being said to and about Matt are repulsive. I respect the decisions that Matt has had to make during this experience. If you are directing hate towards him, please stop. Recognize someone's humanity and think about the impact your words have. Becca Martinez actually explained this really well, so let's just play what she says. Let me click on this here.
Understanding about this Matt and Rachael breakup. Only 3 years ago, Rachael was participating in racially insensitive behavior. Up until very recently, she needed someone to break down for her why those actions were wrong. Of course, everyone needs to start their learning journey somewhere. But what Matt was saying was he's experienced the burden of being black his whole life. And he doesn't want the added emotional burden in this relationship of having to educate someone who's just beginning their journey to understand racial issues. That seems totally fair to me. I don't get what people aren't understanding about...
Right, guys? Seems totally fair to me. Sorry about that buzzing noise. That was as loud as I could play it there. Becca says, what's with the Matt hate? Give the poor man a break. He's been through so much this season that he certainly did not sign up for. ... It's weird addressing what I believe is minority opinions. In this case, when I say minority opinions, I mean, I think most people understand the complexity of the situation. But then again, I generally find that I give the benefit of the doubt because I find that my community, where I come from, is based in a very lawyer-esque way of thinking. Whereas I can look at both sides and understand that the truth is in the middle, that Matt James is feeling a ton of pain, that Rachael Kirkconnell is feeling a ton of pain. I mean, we looked at her. Let's see if we can find... I don't even think she's got a photo posted from after the final rose. But she really... I mean, she's really taken a hit. She had blotchy skin. She lost a bunch of weight. It's safe to say, from an outsider's point of view, that's all I am, but it's safe to say that she's had an incredible amount of pain and pressure put on her because of these actions. Doesn't mean she's not deserving of them. It's regardless, her person, who she is, will never be the same. She'll never be the same as the person who went into the show. And, people have commented, well, she's not who she was 3 years ago. Well, up until a few months ago, she didn't recognize sort of, I guess, the severity of kind of where her actions would take her. And it doesn't mean you got to put that, you can look at that and not hate Matt James. He didn't cause this. So when I always continue to say we got to walk and chew gum, I guess it's easier said than done. Our reptilian body, and again, I'm not a psychoanalyst here, but our reptilian body wants to pick sides immediately and pick the right side. And this isn't always good. We look at it with culture always wanting to be on the right side of like what's offensive, what's not offensive, what's who won, Team Jennifer, Team Angel, Team Twilight, Team whatever their names are, Team Rachel, Team Matt. It's just how about Team Humanity, guys? Come on, how about Team? They went through hell, and it's not going to be easy regardless of the opinion of us strangers. Now, if you take social media out of it, I don't think when Rachael goes and gets a coffee, when Matt James goes out to dinner, I don't think either one of them are getting any insults whatsoever. And that's just based on what I've heard from people that have been publicly shamed. Unless you're like Mitch McConnell or Alex Jones or someone who's like spews up such vitriol. I'm trying to think of someone, AOC. She gets hate in public. Someone who's like on the border of like, people hate people that, a lot of people love AOC, right? Because I'm not trying to make this political. I think she's a pioneer. But there are people that hate her. And even with that said, I bet you she doesn't get much of that out in public because so much of people's emotions, it becomes easy to share online. Take me, for example. No one's ever really come up to me in person other than like maybe some drunks at a bar after a stand-up show. But no one's ever really come up to me as a person and talked to me the way I have been talked to on the internet. Now, people have access to me. I've got my phone number right here. I got my phone number right here. I take voicemail calls. I try to be so inclusive with these types of conversations where I listen to you guys. But then again, I've also been called out for not getting to people's comments. Someone called me out for leaving their comment on read on Instagram. And I can't imagine what the contestants go through, because I have 1%, less than that, of their following. And even me at the end of the day, as you guys have seen on some live streams. And again, I'm not saying this to come off as a victim. I'm saying this to show you guys the actual toll it can take on somebody. Because even me, after dealing with people at the end of a live stream, or, you know, having my words conflated, or being told I'm attacking someone that I'm very obviously not trying to do, when I'm having tough conversations, my mind just goes to this place where I'm like, I am so annoyed by how we try to talk to each other, because in person, it just doesn't happen that way. And this is part of the problem I had with the Rachel, Lindsay, Chris Harrison interview. I don't think that conversation would have gone sour in person. I don't think they would have been interrupting each other. I don't think they would have been so pressured for him to get his points across. I think there's more empathy shared when you're in person. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a scenario in which it doesn't go well in interviews and this and that. Absolutely. But for the most part, our communication just doesn't translate all the way to the internet, to Zoom calls. It just doesn't translate. Every week I am being told, you know, I made a joke about ADD. People told me that's insensitive. I so many different things, and I go, geez, I feel like if we were in person, we would just like nip that in the bud. But when it goes online, it becomes kind of this like slam culture. What's the point of all that? I believe in progress. I believe in love. When you expand it, kicks out the hate. But how do we get the hate away from someone like Matt James? First of all, Rachael Kirkconnell, get out of any comment section you're in. It is just a breeding ground for those real, not every comment section, but when you get to the comment section, you get people's real core ugly side, especially on websites where you don't have your personal info attached to it, because people feel like they can say what they really think. And that you get that on Reddit, you get that on YouTube, and we end up thinking of whoever is making these negative comments, we think of them as like if they were a peer, and they're not a peer. They're just a random person. That's why I don't pick fights with people on the internet, because I'm like, I don't know who you are, so why am I going to raise my blood level and my stress and get more gray hairs? I got a couple coming in right here. Why do I want to do that with some stranger? Don't give someone the keys to your emotions like that. With that said, you got to totally respect Rachael Kirkconnell for wanting to like call out the hate, because she's got this platform that has grown by 50%. It's grown by 50% since she made her apology. She had 400,000. She had 400,000 followers when she made this apology, which now has almost 3 million views, and now she's well on her way to 1 million. And she's got a platform, and she's kind of saying, ceasefire, calm down, it's more complicated than you think. So both sides can be heartbroken. Let's see what Tyler has to say about this all, because Tyler is Matt James' best friend. So let's go into this.
I mean, what was his mindset like during the past few months? Because I can't imagine.
It was definitely tough, but like I said, I always support Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always a sounding board for him. If he's got to, speak on something, I'm here for him. And he does the same for me. And that's what brothers do for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been working hard.
Yeah. You think he's ready to get back in dating, or is he going to take a little time off?
I'm sure he's going to take some time. I'm sure, he needs to figure himself out and get his mind right, and he'll be ready to go, but we'll see.
Yeah. Before things came to light about Rachael, did you think that she was the one for Matt? I
mean, I never got to meet her, so I can't really comment on that, but they seemed happy, and it, like you said, it was like a honeymoon, afterwards still, and that's easy to be happy in, but it's still, time is, a test, and
So the most interesting part of that conversation is that Tyler says he never met Rachael Kirkconnell. which is insane. That's insane because it's like, how do you, first of all, Tyler makes it all the way to Nemacolin, quarantines, goes on that weird date with Matt James, gets punked in the massage parlor by Matt James and Katie Thurston, hashtag Thurston for Thurston, next Bachelorette. And yet he doesn't get a chance. Like, if I'm Matt James, I'm like, hey, I need you to meet this girl. She's going to be the finalist. I need you to meet her. You're my best friend. You really want your best friends and your love interest to like mesh or at least respect each other on some level. My best friends and my fiance get along so well. My best friend, I have a few different best friends and they get along so well, and they actually share a lot of the same sort of like personality traits, which is no shock. It's no shock that what I enjoy in a best friend, I want in a fiance, in a way. You know what I mean? Not everything's the same there, but anyway, it's very shocking that they had never met. Let's end this with some levity here and play my favorite TikTokers. They're called the Bachelors. They are a beautiful a cappella group. Would you call them a cappella? I guess there's music attached to them. Beautiful musical theater moments to the scenery of a Bachelor clips.
Disappointing.
This season.
Disappointing.
This season
Disappointing.
Was disappointing. Disappointing. This season disappointing.
Yay!
They're great. They're good. Wow, the talent at the Bachelors on TikTok. Go check them out. And also a quick plug for today's 5-hour marathon. That's right. Today is a 5-hour marathon at 1 p.m. We will be discussing anything you guys want to talk about. I'll be playing your voicemails. This is a special live stream, which is a thank you for the 25,000 subscribers that the channel has. Actually, we just hit 26,000. So thank you guys so much for that. Big thank you. And we're going to be doing some fun stuff over there if you guys want to hang out. It's a pizza party, so we'll be eating pizza. What's this? Is this the thing right there? Oh, that's the Irish yoga. So I don't have the pizza party graphic. But if you like pizza, order some pizza, hang out, 1 p.m. Pacific time to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So we pretty much cover several different meal opportunities for you over there. And anyways, again, let's just nip this hate in the bud. Tell the people you love that you love them, and smile to a stranger. Tip your Starbucks drive-through barista, and we'll see you guys later. Bye now.